Good morning and welcome to your Friday Faith Fill Up. Do you ever have conflict with others? Well, of course, we all do. There's all kinds of Bible verses that tell us how to deal with conflict because unfortunately it does happen. But have you ever thought about how can we just keep it from happening? Well, the Bible tells us how we can do that. In Philippians chapter 2, Paul is telling the people that they need to be like-minded, they need to be of one mind, of one accord, and just to be on the same page. And one of the things that keeps that from happening, of course, is conflict with people. But he says this in verse number 3, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. The cause of the conflicts that we have is pretty much right there, strife and vainglory. That strife and self-conceit is a way that we would say that. Proverbs chapter 13, verse number 10, the first part of the verse says, only by pride cometh contentions. Well, I think we can diagnose things pretty quickly when we have conflicts with people. And I'm not talking about you're right, they're right, I'm right. I'm not talking about that, but really what makes things so much worse is pride, the strife, the vainglory, the self-conceit, thinking, hey, I have my rights. I have my place that I need to stand upon, and I got to defend myself. And we say different things like that really end up, we think they're going to be profitable, but they end up being hurtful, and they damage relationships, sadly, sometimes to a point to where they can't be fixed. But that verse goes on to say this, which is kind of the fix for this, if you will. It says, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. So we see really where the problems come from, strife and vainglory and pride. But then we see how to avoid the conflicts altogether. We could even say to resolve the conflicts would really fall under the last part of this verse. So we find the lowliness that's there. Well, that's the opposite of pride, is it not? We've got to get to the place to where we stop thinking of ourselves to be perfect, to be thinking that we don't make mistakes, we would never do this or we would never do that, and get over ourselves, if you will. The lowliness is where we say, okay, well, there's a chance that I'm wrong, and be able to identify that and deal with it. But then we find the last part of the verse says that we need to esteem other better than themselves, to esteem other people better than us. In other words, we're taking ourselves down below them. You see, that pride puts us in that place to where we've got to be exalted ourselves, whereas the lowliness and esteeming others better than ourselves takes us then to the opposite end of the spectrum, to the lowest place, to where it's not about us. So when we get to that place, here's what we find. We find, okay, there is a conflict with somebody that is above, that is higher in a sense, and I want to resolve that. I've got to be sure that I'm not causing the conflict, or I'm not causing the conflict to get worse. And the only way that we're going to do that is to put our pride aside and to allow ourselves to get to that place to where we can esteem other people better than ourselves. That's a whole lot easier said than done, is it not? Especially when we can look at somebody and say, well, they're dead wrong. Well, just esteem them better than yourself. Continue to take that road that says that I'm going to stay humble. I'm going to stay close to God. I'm going to esteem them better than me. And we'll find very quickly that a lot of those conflicts that we're in, and a lot of the conflicts that we could be in, would just kind of go away if we would learn to do this. Respond to people in a gracious way. Respond to people in a humble way. Instead of fighting for our position, humble ourselves, esteem others better than ourselves, and see what God can do with that. This is biblical, so we know that it's going to produce something that is good and that is profitable. Well, I hope that's a blessing to you. We'll see you on Sunday morning.